So they let me out of my cave long enough for me to take some time off from work, and I decided to spend some of this time putting my Amigas back together. Well, I started with the A4000, and the O60 is still kind of a pain to use, so I decided to go back with the O40, for now anyway. But at least by putting the system back together, I would be able to use it, O40 or not. And you know what they say about a sausage in the hand versus one in the bush. Even though I went back with the O40, at least the system that I can use is worth more than a O60, which is much faster, but was just basically giving me issues. Now, I could get it to work, and I know a lot of it had to do with all of the files and stuff you have to install for Amiga OS, but it just wasn't enough of a priority for me to work with right now, and I'd rather just get the system all put back together instead of having it scattered in a bunch of pieces around my room. So now that it's back together, I can actually halfway use it. Not that I was using it all that much anyway, because to be honest with you, if I want to do anything Amiga related these days, usually I just emulate it. Having said that though, it is nice having all three of my Amigas completely operational, even if I'm not going to use them all that much. At least I know that they're together, there are no parts missing, and they work, which isn't always guaranteed with systems this old, so there is that. I had been putting off putting the Amiga 4000 back together because it was a little intimidating since it's been so long since I took it apart. I had to kind of fiddle with things to get them all back together, and really I wasn't sure if I was going to have any issues, but when I sat down and actually got to doing it, it kind of all came together. And other than the fact that if there's a screw to be dropped and lost, I'm going to drop it and lose it a dozen times. You don't see that so much in this footage because, well, all of my time spent crawling around the floor has been cut out. But yeah, rest assured, if there's anything to be dropped while manhandling it, I'm going to be the one to drop it. Fortunately, I didn't lose anything this time, but I did have to raid my spare parts bucket to find an adequate screw to put the case back together again. It is worth pointing out that I have all of the parts, almost, to build 6 complete Amigas, 2 A1200s, 2 A2000s, and 2 A4000s. I don't have the cases, but all of the innards except for a power supply for the A4000 are there. If I had the cases, I could put the Amigas together. The A4000, that would be a little tricky because the power supply that I have for it doesn't work. And as I said, the O60 that's in that motherboard it's flaky. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with the CPU, and I don't even think there's anything wrong with the board that it's on. It's just that I never really could get Amiga OS to boot in a stable state, and that could be a me issue, or it could be a hardware issue, I don't know. It is usable though, and when it runs, it is really, really fast, but it's just not worth the headache. And let's face it, if we're going to do any serious work that requires that kind of power, we're doing it emulated. A Pi Storm will blow that O60 away. That's it for this video. Cue the hate comments about, oh, emulation sucks, you need real hardware, blah, 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 whatever.